Hello. Today we are starting a new module called Inventions. First, we are going to explain the meaning of the word. Invent as a verb means to create or design something that has not existed before, to be the originator of. In our language, it would be izumiti, otkriti. The noun form is inventions, which means izum or izumi, otkriće, or in plural, otkrića. Okay, now we are going to take a look at the famous inventors of this world. So, okay, do you recognize some of the faces here? This woman, or this man, or these two men, or the things they invented? Okay, if you're not familiar with them, we're going to explain further. Let's see. The Wright brothers invented the airplane. Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone. Then, John Logie Baird invented the television. Louis Braille invented the Braille alphabet. I'm sure all of you are familiar with this kind of alphabet. Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. William Conrad Röntgen discovered the X-rays. This Röntgen and X-rays, I'm sure it reminded you immediately of our word, which is Röntgen. Yes, you're correct. Marie Curie discovered the radium. Alexander Fleming discovered the penicillin. And there are many, many more. Now we are continuing with the vocabulary to explain the vocabulary that will be necessary to complete the exercise A on page 38. So some words that you might not be familiar with are patent, a document granting an inventor sole rights to an invention. A similar word we have in our language. Breakthrough, it's a discovery or find. Exhibit, to show, to make visible. Prototype, a standard model or typical example. Also similar is the word in our language. Backer is a sponsor. Okay, now that we have completed it, we're going to move to this exercise. Task A, vocabulary and listening part in your textbooks. Match the two parts of these statements related to inventions. So, for each beginning on the left, you have the ending on the right. For example, if you want to see if your idea works in practice, what do you think would be the perfect match? What do you think? Go through the exercise. Yes, I'm sure you find it. So if you want to see if your idea works in the practice, you make a series of prototypes. Correct. Big improvement. If you make a big improvement, then you make a breakthrough. Good job. Number 3. Want to protect your idea so that others cannot copy it. I'm sure this one is easy and you immediately have done it. Yes, you apply for a patent. You apply for a patent so no one else can copy it. Okay, number 4. If you want to show your product to possible buyers, where should you go? What do you think? Where should you go? Certainly, you could exhibit at trade shows, or you can show or display your product at trade shows. Number 5. If you want someone to invest in your product, what would you do? You look for a financial backer or financial, as we explained, sponsor. Okay, number 6. If you allow others to make and sell a product based on your idea, then what do you give them? You license your product to them. You sign a licensing agreement. License is permission, yeah, to use, to make and sell, in this context, to make and sell a product based on your idea. Number 7, if you want to sell a product, then what do? Yes, it's logical. You need to set up your own company. And the last sentence for today is number 8. If you want to make large quantities of products for customers, then the idea that is left is you manufacture them on an industrial scale. These are the expressions that you should learn. Apply for a patent, manufacture on an industrial scale, make a breakthrough, license your product or sign a licensing agreement, then exhibit at trade shows, meet a series of prototypes, look for a financial backer, and set up your own company. Okay. Now we are moving to the listening part. I'm going to read to you an interview with Mandy Haberman, inventor of a non-spill cup for children, and your task here will be to put the events in the correct order. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sentences which are mixed up. You are going to listen to the interview and to put these sentences in the correct order according to the listening part. Okay. Let's get started. How did you get the idea for the Anyway Up cup? I first had the idea for a totally non-spill cup when I saw a little girl drinking from a conventional trainer cup. She dropped the cup and her mother dived to catch it before it hit the floor. This made me think that it must be possible to make a cup that were old clothes and wouldn't spill or drip when the child wasn't drinking from it. How did you go about producing the cup? Well, I had some experience of working with plastics, and starting in my kitchen, I made a series of prototypes. After about a year, I was ready to look for a financial backer to develop and sell the product. How did you go about finding one? I had applied for a patent before I went to see possible backers, and over a period of a couple of years, I showed my prototypes to about 20 companies. How did companies respond when you went to see them? Responses varied. Typically, companies wanted to hold on to the prototypes while they assessed the product. Months would go by and I'd become very nervous about it until finally I would demand that they return the product. Those that were interested were either not prepared to invest enough money or were not prepared to commit to that sort of minimum sales figures that I considered possible. So, where did you go from there? I exhibited at trade shows. We showed prototypes which were convincing as real product samples. We demonstrated our samples by one moment drinking from them and the next moment shaking them over people's clothes. Not a drop came out. The shows were a huge success. We took about £10,000 of advance orders. What happened next? With the £10,000 from the advance orders, I set up my own company, the Haberman Company Ltd, to make the cups, and we rocketed into business. Later on, I licensed my product to A&E Marketing Ltd in the UK and a company called The First Years in the US. How did you establish your route to market? We realized that we needed to get the product into supermarkets, but this wasn't going to be easy. We had already been in contact with all the big chains, but they weren't interested. So we filled the cup with fruit juice and put it loose inside a white box and posted it to the buyer at Tesco with a note to say that if it arrived without spilling, she should give us a call. A few days later, the telephone rang. We were into Tesco. Okay, so now you know what was what was happening with her and her business. So the first, as you can see here, the first, number 1 is already completed. So we have Mandy Haberman had the idea for a non-spill cup when she saw a girl spilling the drink. Okay, what happened next, logically? Correct. She applied for... What was going on then? She looked for companies to make and sell her product. Yes. After finding the companies, the logical next step is to demonstrate her product at trade shows. Trade shows are also really important in this order. Number 6 would be, yes, at the trade show she did very well. She got about 10,000 pounds, so she invested them where she set up her own company to make the non-spill cups. And finally, we have something. Where did she arrive? Yes, she arrived or get to Tesco, the supermarket chain that agreed to sell her product. Okay, that's all for today. One more thing. Your homework is on the page 38, task C, to listen to the interview again and answer the questions. Hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something, and see you next time. Bye. Stay safe. Stay at home, please.